لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا المرسلين وعلى آله وصحابته أجمعين أما بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وقالوا لولا أنزل عليه ملك ولو أنزلنا ملكا لقضي الأمر ثم لا ينظرون ولو جعلناه ملكا لجعلناه رجلا لبسنا عليهم ما يلبسون ولقد استهزئ برسل من قبلك فحاق بالذين سخروا منهم ما كانوا به يستهزئون قل سيروا في الأرض ثم انظروا كيف كان عاقبة المكذبين صدق الله مولانا العظيم. So continuing with the narrative that we began describing yesterday, the continuous arrogant and obstinate demands of Quraysh simply to try and confuse or muddle the effort of Dawat towards Islam and without any other proper or acceptable reason. So they keep asking various ridiculous proofs, not wanting actually to have proofs that they could use to practically come to a belief and certainty about Islam and then enter it, but rather try and cause problems, troublemakers in other words. And so here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues that narrative saying, وَقَالُوا لَوْلَا أُنزِلَ عَلَيْهِ مَلَكٌ. So previously they said to send down a book from the sky, it should have our name written on it, and it should say that you're the Prophet, and we need to believe in you. So one such person was Abdullah ibn Abi Umayyah, who subsequently, interestingly, actually accepted Islam and sought excuse from Rasulullah who excused him, and ultimately he died shaheed in the Battle of Taif. Then another two were accompanying him in this request for sending down an angel, another book from Allah, and angels, and they wanted 4 angels should come down and give witness that you are the messenger and that this is the book of Allah. And of course, again, simply abstinence and trying to confound the Prophet ﷺ and render him unable to fulfill their requests, which they would use as a proof that, look, he's not a prophet, otherwise then this would have happened what we have requested. And those other 2 individuals, An-Nadhr ibn Harith and Nawfal ibn Khalid, both were killed in Badr, and they received the recompense of their continuous abstinence and rebellion. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala replies to them. He doesn't send that down because he doesn't, send down these ridiculous things every time they make these requests. Rather, he explains to them why it's not good for them to even request, and even had it been sent down, it would have been quite evil in terms of the consequence for them. Saying, وَلَوْ أَنزَلْنَا مَلَكًا لَقُضِيَ الْأَمْرُ ثُمَّ لَا يُنظَرُونَ. Had we sent down an angel, as they requested, and they didn't believe, and of course they wouldn't believe because that wasn't their point, then that would have been the decisive end for them, because that's the sunnah of Allah. As we saw in Ad, Thamud, and others, when they requested from their prophets, certain signs this similar to what they're requesting here, and those signs actually came. They didn't believe. Immediately they were taken to recompense and they were utterly destroyed. So that's number 1. Number 2, وَلَوْ جَعَلْنَاهُ مَلَكًا لَجَعَلْنَاهُ رَجُلًا. Even had we sent him down as a man, or as a king, sent down the angels, you wouldn't be able to tolerate, or you wouldn't be able to withstand their original appearance. As we know, even Prophet ﷺ, when Jibreel first came to him, he didn't come to him in his original form. His form which would fill the entire horizon, 600 wings, a human being seeing something like that would fall over unconscious, if not, die of a heart attack. So that's not, and the Prophet Jibreel used to actually come in, in a visible form, in the form of a human being, usually in the form of the appearance of Dihya ibn Kalbi, who was known emissary of the Arabs, and a very handsome, very beautiful individual, and people used to think that that was actually Dahya. Nabi said, no, this was Jibreel. He came for such and such purpose. So even had we sent an angel, we wouldn't have sent him in the original form. We would have to have sent him in the form of a man, and you'd still have the same problem. You say, well, so how do we know he's an angel? So they wouldn't have believed in that as well. So it's a futile request, actually. So had we sent down an angel, we would have made him a man, so that they could have actually seen him and interacted him. And then, and so the issue would also become confused and unclear to them as it was previously, and actually the confusion stems from the fact that they don't want proof in the first place. They just want to cause trouble. And so this being the case, of course, Nabi ﷺ being Haris, very concerned about the guidance and the welfare of his people, even those who oppose him, even his bitterest enemies. And so obviously these types of responses, these types of requests, this type of manifestation of abstinence and arrogance would always cause grief to the Prophet ﷺ, who was always very keen to see them on the right path and going towards Jannah rather than headed towards the fire of hell. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala consoles the Prophet ﷺ saying, وَلَقَدْ اسْتُهْزِئَ بِرُسُلٍ مِّن قَبْلِكَ. So if that's the case, then know, O my beloved, that this is the way of my prophets previously. Whenever I send prophets, then always there's going to be people who are going to mock them and give them trouble, just like these people are doing with you. فَحَاقَ بِالَّذِينَ سَخِرُوا مِنْهُمْ مَا كَانُوا بِهِ يَسْتَهْزِئُونَ. But ultimately, that which they were mocking and which they were making fun of, ultimately came on their heads and brought about their destruction.